I've had so many transitions in my life, some small, like when I let my hair go gray. That was a small one 18 years ago, never looked back. But some very large, like quitting jobs that were very secure to do something that we'd take half the salary, and we had a house full of children, and Bob would look at me and go, "This is the craziest thing we've ever done," and we would do it. And so we've had big transitions like that several times. When I told him that I was coming to work at a horse park, that may have been one of the most challenging ones. You're going to do what? You don't know anything about horses. Big transitions. There was a transition certainly when each child was born, because we'd go from none to one, and then we first had a son who was our nephew, so we got the first one at 13. So each child, there was a transition, and then as each left, there was a transition. Some of you are facing that now. And so sometimes the transitions have been small, and sometimes they've been large. But every transition involved a period of waiting. I hate that. I hate waiting. I've been described as controlling. I'm definitely one who wants to get the job done. I see the end that we need to get to, and I'm going to get us there. And so the waiting part is really hard to me. There are lots of stories in the Bible about waiting. Boy, Moses, he was told to take his people, right, to the promised land. That was a really long period of waiting, and it was involved some trauma and some great difficulty. That was really tough. Jesus himself spent 40 days and nights in the wilderness waiting. Can you imagine what he must have felt? This is what it means to be the Savior of the world. The waiting is hard. But transitions don't happen without the waiting. And that period where much is uncertain, maybe even it appears to be unnecessary activity or space that feels uncomfortable, Ramona, and alone, but it's important and it's not wasted. Remember what I shared with you about my new friend earlier, that he asked the question, what have you been doing all of your life? Because God doesn't waste any of it. And he doesn't waste the waiting. It's often in the waiting that I've found in transitions in my life that I learned the most. It's the hardest space because I like the doing. Most of us do. But the waiting is necessary in order, I think, to fully understand what we have when we get to the other side. Jake said our life is a series of transitions, a continuous transition. Change is constant. And I want to remind you that waiting is a part of changing. It doesn't happen one after the other. Pam, we're still sitting here. I'd ask her about in the sport of dressage, which I now know a lot about. It's a beautiful dance of a horse with a series of movements, and between each phase, there has to be a pause in any beautiful dance you've ever seen. You don't move from one motion to the other. Typically, there is a transition or a pause that's necessary. So next time you find yourself waiting, answers haven't come quickly, uncertainty abounds, I want to just suggest 4 quick things. 1, take some time for rest. I love what Jake said. Remember that it's fall. And though we may have some uncertainty still about how things fit together in a new world order in Western North Carolina, let's take some time for rest and renewal. It's really important. Our tendency is in this space to keep doing and moving. Just stop and rest. Secondly, consider all the reasons you have to be thankful. I don't care how difficult it becomes. I don't care how hard it gets. There is something in your life for which you can truly be thankful. Every day, all day. Some days I have to think really hard because I'm overwhelmed by what isn't working right. And I have to teach myself and coach myself to stop and just give thanks. Third, seek fellowship, community, conversation. Don't be afraid to call a friend. Don't be afraid to show up at a coffee shop. I have this great new fun coffee shop called Short Sleeves Coffee, not mine, but one I have frequented in recent weeks in Swannanoa, North Carolina. Again, one of the hardest hit places in the state. I like to just go sit there. Had the most interesting conversations because folks were coming there for fellowship. A young couple has made it a place that community can come together, just like we heard Phil and Tina did today. And one of the best ways to find fellowship and community is to offer it yourself. It's hard when you're uncertain, but it's a place you'll find a lot of joy. Reach out. And fourth, Be open to the possibilities for what can happen in your life when we get out of the way of ourselves and let God have his way with us. Be open to the possibilities of this journey. None of us probably wanted to get where we are by how we've gotten here. Is that fair to say? But we've learned something in every phase. Be open to the possibilities of what can be, even through difficult times. And that's the weekly word. I'm so grateful that you came today. It's a dream for me, with great encouragement from friends who I love dearly and from a family that loves me more than I deserve. I love you dearly. Thanks so much.